What's up, guys? Max here, maxpacks.com. Let's just talk about what's still available before it's gone. So, what do I mean by that? Pokemon investing. We're going to talk about Sword and Shield. We're going to talk about Scarlet and Violet. Sun and Moon's kind of too far gone, except for maybe Hidden Fates, maybe. But Sun and Moon's just too far gone for the average person. So, Sword and Shield, we still have Brilliant Stars, which Brilliant Stars is very underrated. It was a very popular set when it came out, and pretty much everybody wanted it, but it's rebounding pretty nicely. It's pretty much back to its all-time highs, and I mean, it's still a great set. Remember, Sword and Shield, the alt-art sets are all going to be $1,000 sets. It's just a matter of when. So, Brilliant Stars, it's right around that $500 range. You can double your money. I don't think it's going to take that long. But again, great set. You have the True Chase and the Brilliant Stars Charizard, which is a great Charizard. Charizard's fan favorite. You still have the Trainer Gallery, which is stacked, absolutely stacked, full of evolutions, Umbreon, Sylveon, Mimikyu, which are all super, super popular. They're all decent chases, or maybe not chases. They're decent cards to hit. If you're opening packs and you hit some of them, you're not going to complain. And then the PSA 10 multiplier on those as well is pretty nice. If they're PSA 10 quality, which is the big issue, centering on a lot of them aren't very great. Next we'll talk about Lost Origin, and Lost Origin came off of it was $800 before the dip. It dipped pretty good, and I think it's still recovering. You got the Garantina, which is, major chase, Shindy Kanda artwork. He's probably the best artist out there right now with the biggest following, and I don't want to say cult-like, but it's a big following. And, you also got the Aerodactyl, which isn't too, I wouldn't say it's too great, but it's a second chase, I guess. Again, you have a trainer gallery with them, you have a Charizard in the trainer gallery, you have Gengar, and you have multiple Pikachus. Can't go wrong with that. Very, very popular Pokemon in the trainer gallery. And again, PSA 10s are expensive. So it's still a good set. Then Crown Zenith, even through the crash or correction, whatever you want to call it, Crown Zenith never really tumbled a whole lot. It's sitting right around $220 a ETB, and yeah, it got a major reprint, which might have made it, it did take a little bit to take off. But you got the gold cards, the Garantina, Palkia, and Dialga, which are fan favorites. You also have the Galarian Gallery, which is stacked. The Pikachu, and you have busted pull rates. You really can't go wrong. Everybody loves Crown Zenith. It's been a fan favorite since it released, just because it's a fun rip. Hit rates are really, really favorable. And I find it a hard time that people aren't going to remember, hey, the busted pull rates. If I'm going to open something that's expensive, it's probably going to be Crown Zenith. Just because, if you open Evolving Skies, you're just, getting punched in the face left and right. Those pull rates are so bad. But Crown Zenith, it's got better pull rates. It's more fun, Instead of getting punched in the face every pack, it's like every 3 packs or every other pack. So Crown Zenith, I mean, that's going to be a $500 ETB. It's just a matter of when. Astral Radiance, probably the least liked booster box, which is crazy because Silver Tempest exists. But Astral Radiance, you got the Starmie with Misty. Probably the most expensive trainer gallery, or the second most expensive trainer gallery. And I mean, Misty's a fan favorite, so can't go wrong with that. And then you also have the Machamp carrying all the plates. I wouldn't say he's the most popular. And then, you got some other, like Beedrill, I think, is in Astral, and a couple other cards. But like I said, Astral's kind of mid. That's going to be a $1,000 booster box. Whether you want it to or not, it will be. It's just a matter of when. And, as the crash is starting to recover, Sword and Shield especially is bouncing back. These are not getting reprinted. And I think people are like, hey, why did these drop like they did? Like, we're obviously, the new printing facility does not affect Sword and Shield at all. Nothing will affect Sword and Shield unless they find, a massive warehouse filled with thousands of booster boxes. Nothing's going to hurt Sword and Shield. Then we have Silver Tempest, which is just Lugia or bust. There's really nothing else in there, just that awesome Lugia. And Lugia is a fan favorite as well. Fantastic artwork. Kicking myself for not buying those when they were like 120 a card. The booster boxes were 120 for the longest time as well. And then once things sell out, it's off to the moon. And we've seen that before, time and time again. And Scarlet and Violet, first 4.5 sets are rotating out in April, meaning no more reprints. Well, can't say that, but no more reprints. So what are the first 4.5 sets? You have Scarlet Violet base, which you have a Gardevoir in there, the whole Gardevoir line. This is probably the cheapest booster box on the market, if not like second or third cheapest. And it's getting ready to go out of rotation. We are not going to see these again. Yeah, it's not the most deep set. It doesn't have a A-tier chase card, but you got the Gardevoir line. That's really all it's got going for it, and it's cheap, and it's going out of rotation. Obsidian Flames, it's pretty expensive already. Pretty much Charizard or bust. I wouldn't touch this one, personally. I also have no exposure. I sold my ETBs off. All I have is the Charmander PC promo in a 10, which is doing really nice. And then I have Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs. I sold out of everything else. Don't want anything else. And that's just because it's such a weak set. It is Darkness Ablaze 2.0. You have a Charizard that's like $80, and that's it. Sure, you have some cute cards that aren't really worth a whole lot, like the Cleffa with the shooting star. I think it's Cleffa that has the shooting star in the back. Nice card. I got that in a trade. Ninetales. I mean, I think it pumped up to like $30 at one point, but I got that at a show real cheap too. And they're just not that popular. They don't sell. It is what it is. I personally wouldn't touch Obsidian Flames, but once it goes out of rotation, secondary market, it can do what it wants. It's anyone's guess. Is that going to be $500? Probably. So if you want it, get it. Then the blatantly obvious elephant in the room here, 151. The nostalgia factor with this is just crazy. It brought so many people back in the hobby, including myself. This is the first set that I decided to do a master set with. I cracked pack after pack after pack with some friends and stuff, and it was a genuinely great time. We'd seen a ton of booster bundles and Blooming Water reprints, but never ETBs, never UPCs, stuff like that. And the UPC, that thing is easily going to be $1,000. ETV is probably going to be $1,000. The PC ETV, probably going to be $2,000. When? Probably 5 years. But I can see these packs, the loose packs themselves, they're already like $15 or $16. They're probably going to be $25 this time in 2027. That's my prediction. Probably $50 in 2 to 3 years. Just because it's so loved. People are ripping the heck out of this. Your booster bundles are $100. They're probably going to be like $200 this time next year. If you don't have anything, get it before the boat sails. That's all I'm saying. That's the point of this video. Next, we have Paradox Rift, and Paradox Rift is kind of mid. There's been some PokeTubers kind of pumping it, but it's like a joke. You can tell. It's a joke. Just because they have heavy bags, if they got them at $80 a booster box, it's really not that heavy at that point. But Paradox Rift, you have the Groudon, the illustration rare, which is a really cool one. It's got a really, really good PSA 10 multiplier. The Steelix, a lot of people like the Steelix. Personally, I like the Steelix too, where he's like helping build the building. The Garchomp SIR, which a lot of people have been shitting on, but a lot of people also said like, hey, this is really cheap. Garchomp's super popular. This is underrated. Do with that information what you wish. I don't have any. The Altaria, I've been looking at buying that Altaria for a really long time and just never did. I was gonna pull the trigger when it was like, I think it was 80 or $100 as a PSA 10, never did. And now I just don't care. So that is what it is. Then you also have the Roaring Moon, which I think the Roaring Moon was like $100 or something like that for a while. Could be wrong. I might be getting my sets mixed up. Let me know if I'm an idiot. Temporal Forces. Personally, I think this is a sleeper. The legendary dogs would at least be double to triple the price if they weren't I believe they're the Paradox form in Temporal Forces. Paradox form kind of just ruined it for everybody, but if they were the originals, they would probably be triple the price. And, maybe people just don't like them. Maybe it's one of those things people don't find out they like them for another 5 years and then they explode, which is probably what's going to happen. But you also have a Gengar. You have Morty's Conviction, which is practically a Gengar card, and Ghastly in there. Ghastly pumped up a little bit. I think it was like 50, I think it was like 70 actually, $70 to $80 at one point. I mean, it came back down to earth. It's probably 50 now. The early Scarlet and Violet sets are kind of mid, let's just say. And it is what it is. But it's going out of rotation. I don't think we've really seen any meaningful reprints. I think we might have saw sleeves once or twice. And some packs and like some tins or something like that. Or maybe it was a collection box. But outside of that, Temporal Forces didn't get reprinted, as far as I know. Let me know if I'm wrong. Last but final set, Paldean Fates. And it's not quite the elephant in the room like 151, but Paldean Fates is a fantastic set. The Bubble Mew, cards that have a nickname after them usually do very well long term. You got the Gardevoir and the Charizard in there. You have 3 big chases. Then you have a bunch of baby shinies, which, the Pikachu, baby shiny, pretty expensive. And then you get that in a PSA 10, pretty expensive. The PSA 10 multiplier on those are very, very, very nice. I got mine when it was like $100 in a PSA 10, and I think it reached like $400 or $500 at one point. I'm sure it probably came down to like 3 something, but the Pikachu one in particular has a low pop. It's like, I want to say it's like 1,000 or 2. Nothing crazy, but it's Pikachu. They have a Charmander in there. They might have a Snorlax. I might be thinking of a different Fates set with the Snorlax, but hey, can't go wrong with those. You really can't. And, Paldean Fates is pretty freaking expensive. I don't really think we got a huge reprint of them. We got some bundles here and there and some ETBs, I think, once, but ETBs are pricey. The bundles are just as expensive as 151's bundles. And the chases are worth more. Like, there's more value. The set value with Paldean Fates is higher than 151. You have the top chase cards are more expensive than the top chase cards of 151. Like, Paldean Fates is it. It is probably it's neck and neck with 151 as the best sets going out of rotation. And if you don't have them, man, when they go out of rotation, there's no more stock, there's no more prints coming. It is what it is. Just make sure you have some. That's all I want to say. Just make sure you have some. And I bought some in the collections I'm getting for my shop, and I will be putting them on my website to sell because I'm buying into the churn and burn as much as I possibly can. There's very few things that I'm going to be buying and stashing for investments long term just because I want to keep the churn and burn of the website going, which is what you're supposed to do as a business. You need the cash flow, especially, for the next set or this and the next opportunity that comes. And then, if I can get booster boxes for 200 and sell them for 250, these are just arbitrary numbers. But if I can get booster boxes for 200 and say I can get 10 of them and I can sell all 10 for 250 each, I can pocket that extra whatever $500, and then next time I can get whatever 12 booster boxes, sell those for 250. Now I can get 14 booster boxes, and then I can get 16, and then it's just a snowball effect, and it just keeps going bigger and bigger and bigger. And hopefully the clientele, the client base, and all that grow with it. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know. You guys think there's something else that is worth looking into before the ship sails on, whatever these 10 sets or whatever I just mentioned? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like the video, smash that subscribe button And check out my website, maxpacks.com. Buy some sealed Japanese booster boxes. Buy some English stuff. We got lots of cool stuff coming in. See you guys on the next video.